Yay. Okay, we're in business. Hello, everybody. I am so excited for tonight. Some of you got to hear the guest speaker last night. She was one of the girls on the Show Me the Money call with Cammie. And so I'm so excited for everyone to get to hear from Geneveve. I'm just trying to think when we first met. Geneveve, okay. I think it might have been Dash.
Yeah, it was our first Dash. I remember I walked in, I had only been in the business like 11 months, and I'm like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing here. And you're like, yeah, neither do I. I've only been in like 13 months. And we were just kind of like the presidential diamonds there. Like, how did we even get here? Like really wide-eyed and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was it. Yep. And so I remember that. So, I mean, crazy. So that's like, was that 2 years ago? I don't know.
It will be 2 years in September. Yeah.
Okay. So almost 2 years ago. Yes. So it's crazy. So, yep, we met then, and then it's just been really neat because I feel like I remember watching you promote to ambassador, and I was like, oh my goodness, how did she do that? I'm like trying to get there. And yep, I remember watching you promote, and then I finally promoted it after.
And then you got to the top 10, and then I'm like, how did she do that? I'm trying to get there.
Oh, no, but it's been fun. It's crazy. It's it reminds me when they say, give it a year, it can change your life, and you just see every single year what this business can do. And so I'm so excited, you guys, for you to get to hear from Geneveve and hear kind of her story, how she got in, and then we'll ask her some tips. But thank you for taking the time to be on.
I'm super, super honored. Like, really, I was so excited when she asked me. So, yeah.
Thank you. Well, will you first tell everyone a little bit about yourself, how you found It Works, what you were doing before, like let them hear your story. And then of course we'll dig in to hear how you did what you did, but start by sharing your story with us.
So, I got started October of 2014. And my friend came to my baby shower. I was 7 months pregnant with our 2.5-year-old, and she told me about these wraps that can tighten, tone, and firm your skin. And her and I both have fitness backgrounds, and I'm like, that is absolutely crazy. And I was like, well, let me know if it works. And she's like, listen, I told my friend that if it actually works, I would sell it. And, I had actually dabbled in this type of business years before, but only for a few months. And I left that experience thinking, okay, once and done and never again. I don't understand how people make money from this. Like, why am I going to buy this from somebody when, let's face it, I can go to Target and I can find this. But it was really intriguing to me that this product I couldn't find at Target, where I feel like my whole life comes from. Like you all, like I'm sitting at a desk I bought at Target, right? And and so I was like, okay, so this is really different. I bought a wrap from her, so that's a big tip I want to tell you guys. This is like one of my very best friends in the whole wide world, and she didn't give me a wrap for free. She sold it to me. So don't ever give anything away for free, because if she would have given it to me for free, I probably wouldn't have used it, to be perfectly honest. I mean, I didn't use it. I was 8 months pregnant. I slapped it on my husband. But it wouldn't have been as big of a deal. It would have devalued it. So don't ever give anything. You're not running a charity. You're running a business. And so I put it on him, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. He was tighter. He was toner. I remember we didn't even have Fab Wrap or Saran Wrap. He put it on. He had like my stretchy camisole, and Sean's like a lot bigger than I am. I'm not a very big person. And so I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. I can't buy this from anywhere else. And my friend's like, we have all these other plant-based non-GMO products. I'm like, yeah, I'm not interested in those. I can find them at Whole Foods. Let's sell some wraps. And my goal at the time, my color personality is a rainbow. Depending on what setting you've seen me in, you would probably guess different colors. But my very green side, I keep a spreadsheet of our budget. And I remember looking at our budget when I was working a full-time job at an office and a part-time job teaching fitness classes, that I needed $474 a month in order to be able to stay at home with our newborn. So Sean and I were a blended family. We had 2 boys from before, and we came together and we were having a baby. And I was so thankful for my job, because it came at a time in my life when I was a single mom and I had benefits and stability, but it was super stressful. And more than most days of the week I was working 7 a.m. to past 6 p.m. teaching fitness classes, working at a university, barely making ends meet. And I was like, okay, I'm like, if I can sell these crazy wraps for over $500 a month and like the car doesn't break down and no one gets sick and we don't eat out and we don't go anywhere and nothing bad happens, I could be at home with the baby for like a year and then I have to get a real job. Let's face it, this isn't a real job, right? So I hopped in, had no idea what I was doing. Sean was also a salesman at the time, and he did very well for what he did, but with 2 kids, and we live in South Florida, an hour ahead of you guys, or some of you guys, at least Sherry Lynn. And I was like, gosh, like I need to get to Ruby yesterday. So whatever this Ruby thing is, I need to do that because that's an average of $500 a month. Like all this other money's crazy. So I started just literally doing the steps to success. I didn't get my 4 customers in a week like some of you crazy people probably did. I told my enroller, I'm going to do this, but I'm not going to do parties, so don't ask me. I'm more of like an Amazon mom, not a Pinterest mom. And like my conception of parties is that you had to like hide your kids and have an immaculate house and have all these beautiful hors d'oeuvres and be like setting up for 2 hours. So I was doing parties in the beginning. I didn't realize I was meeting with people at Starbucks. I was using social media. I was, wrapping people on lunch breaks and like, doing dealings in parking lots and stuff like that. I was having parties without really realizing it. So I got to Ruby in 45 days, working crazy hours and everything. And then I decided I wanted more from this. And so I got to Diamond in 3 months. And then double the next month, triple 2 months after that, press 2 months after that, and then I got an email from Pam that I was like in the running for Dash, and I'm like, what? And then around then I met Sherry Lynn, and the month after Dash I went Ambassador Diamond in October a year. So I started October 2014 and then went Ambassador October 2015. So
that's crazy. I mean, that is so crazy. So I love that. What I noticed is at the beginning, you had a pretty big why because you're like, yeah, I need to make X amount. So you like set that goal and you're like, I'm doing this. Like, this is how much I have to make to stay at home with my baby. And if you're a mom, having your baby wanting to be home, that can be like a big why. Right. So you did that. And then you just like sort of went for it. So I know you mentioned, not a lot of sleep, like you were going for it. Where were you finding people? I know we've got people on this right now, that are working to get their 4 loyal customers. Yeah. I'm so excited, people from the $9.99 that joined and the $59 promo. So they're trying to get their 4 customers. Tell us about that. Where did you find your first 4 customers from?
So my first 4 customers, I pretty much found through social media. I had like a 2 or 3 day panic of, oh my gosh, no one's going to want to buy a wrap from me. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't want to be that crazy girl on social media that's like pushing her crap. And then finally, when I got over myself, I realized like, okay, like I've seen the product work, right? I know it works. Whoever is my real friend is going to love me no matter what. So if what I'm doing is not illegal or immoral and it's bringing me joy, like if nobody else is going to pay for me to be home with my baby. So I started definitely posting and like, product tester challenges. Interestingly enough, this is not advice that I would give to a new person. I didn't reach out to my closest friends or family. Now, I don't recommend that now. In hindsight, I would have. That was one area I didn't get over myself because I felt like I had failed at this type of business before and I was really, really nervous. That's probably why I didn't get my first 4 customers in a week. Remember I said I just like eke them out like within the month? I would have gotten them a lot sooner if I would have asked. So after I got over myself and just wasn't afraid of what people were going to think, I just started sharing. Even products that I hadn't tried before, I would just say, hey, like I'm doing this new business. I haven't tried this product. I saw the wrap work on Sean, but if this hair, skin, nails works like how this wrap worked, it's going to be amazing. And I'm super excited to try it. And that was basically it. Just started sharing whatever I could afford or I couldn't. I just put it on a credit card. I probably shouldn't be recommending that either, but I'm really glad that I did. And that was basically it, guys. Like I just got over myself and just started sharing and telling people. But I would have gotten my customers sooner if I had asked friends sooner.
Okay, so you started sharing. So you started posting on social media, and then what about when it came time, you got your customers and you're like, okay, I've got to start growing my team. Like, I want to go Ruby. I need 3 distributors under me. Where did those distributors come from, and how did you start getting those people?
So this is so funny because I was just telling somebody today, I wish I could get back into my newbie mentality, because I've had to like get over myself so much more as a top earner than I did as a newbie, because I didn't know I couldn't. So if you don't feel like you know anything, that's amazing. Just go with your excitement. So I remember I got my first 4 customers. So this is somewhere in November. And I remember standing in our bedroom. It was like this tiny efficiency apartment. We had like the AC units like in the windows, but they weren't like sealed off really good, so I could see the outside. And I said to Sean, okay, like I got my customers. I need a team now. This is how this works. And I can't reasonably expect that people are just going to join me like on their own. I'm going to have to start asking some people. So by the way, you guys, nobody told me this. This is like totally ignorance on fire. I'm like, okay, well, there's a law of averages involved here. So I would imagine for every like 10 people I ask, like 1 has to join me, right? Like somebody has to. So I was like, all right, so I'm going to ask 3 to 5 people a day in the month of November. So that'll be somewhere around like 90 to 150 people. So by that average, I'll sign at least 9 distributors, and that's more than Ruby, and I'll get there. Like, this is going to happen, right? Can I tell you guys, in November, I just promoted to Ruby. Like, just promoted to Ruby. Out of asking 100 people, only 5 joined my team, and 1 was my mom, and you really can't even count that. So, but here's the next thing that happened. I realized I was planting a lot of seeds, because as I was talking to people, I was so excited because I was so sure that I was going to make $500 a month, that even though they told me no, or they read my message and didn't respond, they ignored me, right? The next month, as I continue to post and share, the next month, December of 2015, I signed 7 distributors. And then January of 2015, I signed 17 distributors. And I just want to say, this is before there was a Ruby bonus. There isn't one now, but this is before there was ever a Ruby bonus or an Emerald bonus. This was before I earned any bonus, left my job. I was still calling this my side gig because I didn't want my work to know what I was trying to do. And, I asked all these people, but I planted all of those seeds, and starting that incredible momentum and trying to go Ruby yesterday, I ended up going ambassador in a month or a year. That would be amazing, right? A year.
No, but you know what? That's what's crazy. And I think that's right there. When some people, they try and they ask 5 people and they get 5 no's and they quit. But I wish we could make everyone have that mentality you had, Genevieve, because that's what it was. You said there's got to be a law of average, and a lot of people getting no's gets you down. But when you're thinking like that, like she's like, okay, I asked 100 people and I got 5 yeses. How many people, like honestly, evaluate the 82 people that are on right now. How many people have you asked this month? So she asked 100 people that month and signed 5. And a lot of times it's like, man, I can't sign anybody. Like, well, if you asked 5 people, you're probably going to get no. Like, even if I'm sending out product testers on Instagram, I think I sent out, close to 60 or 70 last Friday, and I signed 1 LC. But now I have some seeds planted, and maybe I won't sign them immediately. But even with that 1 LC, I was like, okay, that's cool, got 1, But the seeds, and that's what she said, her seeds. So she signed 5, then 7 the next month, and then what was it? 17. So, yeah, it's the seeds that were planted. And a lot of you got to witness what happens with your seeds during this $9.99 promo. Because a lot of you, those weren't just strangers. Those were people you would talk to for 3, 6, 9 months, But I love that. So you just planted seeds. Now tell me this. When you were asking them, what were you, like, do you have something that you were saying then or something you like to say now? Like what?
Yeah. And by the way, I just want to touch on something like how important belief is, because I really had no idea what I was doing, you guys. If you've never read at least the first chapter, The Magic of Thinking Big, I was just believed so much that 5, like when okay, let me back up. People come into this business and they're like, I want to be a double diamond. And it's like, well, why do you want to be a double diamond? Like, sure, the name sounds cool, but when it's 1 a.m. and you're like messaging people and you're like, are they like reading this? Do they think I'm crazy? Double diamond doesn't sound that cool. So when I imagined Ruby, it wasn't because Ruby sounded cool. Like, I literally imagined waking up with my baby and spending all day with that baby. So let your why. So I believe so much that my mind figured out ways to build this business. So I think back to it, I'm like, Genevieve, like, how did you know that? How did you know that you should probably read 1 to 2 files on the page that every day? Nobody told me to do that. So when I was sending these messages, nobody told me, hey, you probably shouldn't send them a book because you're going to scare them. It was just like, be excited or whatever. So when I sent them a message, I was very personal. I just said, hey, so-and-so. So that's another thing too. I know there's kind of some debate on this. I never send a message to somebody that if they see my name in their inbox, they're like, who's this person? Okay, so these are people that if they saw my name in their inbox, they're like, oh, it's Genevieve, like, you know, like whatever. She's been liking my pictures or whatever. And it was just something like, hey, so-and-so, something personal, something that they know that I didn't copy and paste it to them. Listen, I know you've maybe seen some of these posts about this business that I'm doing. I'm charting a rank that makes an average of $500 a month. And I just think it would be so much fun to work with you and that you would be amazing at this. You know, are you interested in making some extra money from home or from your phone? And can I send you information? So if you notice, I never mention it works. I never go into all the products. I'm not asking if they want to join my team. I feel it's like asking somebody if they want to marry you and you haven't even gone on a date first. Okay. I'm opening like the idea to them because if I've been engaging with them, they know what I do. And here's the thing. I knew, this sounds so bad, but like, you know how kind of like, you know that commercial when that guy goes to, he sees a car and he licks the handle, right? And the car is his. This is so terrible. I figured I needed to ask all my friends first. Nobody told me this. I just believed it was possible. I needed to be the first one to ask my friends because I knew I wasn't quitting. And if I was the first one to ask my friends, well, eventually when they came around time that they wanted to do this, they were going to sign with me because I asked them first. Not that they had to, but that made sense in my head. So, but yeah, that was the message I sent to them. And even to this day, it's still something just very, very short. Because if you guys ever opened a message from somebody, you're like, oh my gosh, they sent me a book. But also another thing I've been doing is voice memo. And that's really, really powerful because you can't copy and paste that. And the same way you heard that excitement in my voice, they can hear that. I have yet to have somebody tell me with a voice memo, like, don't send me that. You know what I mean? Like, or no thanks.
I love that. So you end it with a question. You say, can I send you some more info?
Yeah.
So if someone says to you like, yeah, sure, send me some more info, then what's like your next step?
So my next step is, and I know every team is different. So at the time, one of my upline ambassadors is Kim Touchton. So she had like a recording that goes over this business. Now that I'm an ambassador, I have one. And I'm like, hey, I'm so excited you're letting me send you information. Here's a short recording that explains how this all works. You know, and I make it very like personable. Like, you know, I was so skeptical. I had a lot of questions as well. I can't wait to hear what you think about it. Can I touch base with you in a couple of days? So that's a big tip, you guys. Anytime you're talking to a potential, I never say, let me know. They're not going to let you know. I always make sure that I end my interaction with a potential with a question. What questions can I answer for you? Can I touch base with you in 2 days? Hey, did you get a chance to listen to that? Hey, is now a good time to talk? And whether or not they listen to that information, the phone call always happens.
Okay, that's cool. So you said like an opportunity, kind of like a recorded video, like a YouTube link? Or
yes.
Like, okay, cool. See, I've never sent an opportunity video, but I've heard of other people that send those. So that's neat. Okay. I want to watch yours. Is it on YouTube if we go look or no?
It's not public.
Okay.
Here's the thing, but I'll send it to you. It's so funny with my personality because you'll listen to this now, but I'm like super shy. Like I'm scared of like somebody stumbles across it. But I will totally share it with you. And again, it just goes back to personality colors. Yeah. The green in me needed to know how this actually worked. Okay. Like I wouldn't have been able to see this, like all of us having fun on the beach. When I'm there, eventually, yes, I'll have fun on the beach, but this would have terrified me Cause like at first with like, you know, kind of like when you met me at Dash, I'm like, hey, I'm Genevieve. It's the same thing. Like I needed to know like how this actually works.
I love that. No, I love that. And I like the idea of even, can I send you more info? Because whether you're doing a video or like I've got like, which it's probably somewhat similar. I mean, I've got like a blurb of my little info about what It Works is, you know, that I'll send somebody.
And I want to see that.
Okay. I'm like, mine's not very fancy. But yeah, I call it my potential DT more info reply, you know, where I like will send like, then I like, you know, but I like what she said, it kept it short. Don't go in with the big, huge, let me tell you about it, you know, just that. Are you open to extra income? Question mark. Are you open to, you know, more info? Question mark. And then sending like something more in depth. I think that's so great. I love that.
Great.
So you did this quick. So you basically, you just kept asking people. What did you do? So you did not so much wrap parties, but you would meet and wrap people, right? That's what you said.
Right. But eventually I realized I was doing parties. So I had a team that did want to do parties. So they wanted to launch. Okay. I was doing virtual parties and even to this day, I do virtual parties every single week with my team. And that started happening at Ruby.
Okay.
So because my team, because of social media, was spread out everywhere. Then when we went to Dash, I was like, yeah, I want to go ambassador ASAP. So we're going to do parties all the time.
So you do like a Facebook party once a week?
We do a team virtual party once a week. If you hear in the background, I literally have to tell my guests in my house. I have a Zoom with an ambassador. But fortunately, I shouldn't say fortunately, my guests backed out. But all the other guests were like of the distributors. So I literally have other distributors signing people right now. Residual income, y'all. They're in the background. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Look at this. See, you don't stop working this business even when you hit the top. I love that. So, okay. So you'll do a virtual party. So do people come to your house and you do the party, or how?
Right. So the virtual party happens once a week with my team. The parties at my house is kind of like ricochet parties. In the sense that like last week we had a party, we signed people. So we decided to do it this week. I need to touch base with whatever happened here. But if we signed a distributor, I'm like, hey, let's do your party at my house next week. And then all the distributors bring their people. But then at the same time, if somebody wants to do it at their house, if they're local, I'll go to them. And then I do Spanish virtual parties every other week.
Which I share yours. I always share yours. I love those, your Spanish parties, our team. Yes. Okay. Awesome. I love that. Okay. So then now let's go. So you hit the top. Asked your warm market. A lot of people will say, what do I do? And I hear people say this all the time, even before, when I'm like, no, you still have people. But they're like, I've asked everybody, like everyone I know, like I heard this week, everybody I know is already ordering from someone, or they're not interested, or, you know, what do you say to that? Like how, because obviously you're like almost 3 years in and you're still signing people, so what would you say to that response?
Well, so the red in me comes out first.
Okay.
And then I'm like, that's not a good response.
Okay.
And then,
you can give us all your responses.
Yeah. They're going to be like, this chick is crazy. Like now she hears voices. So what I think is like, okay, there's 6 billion people on the planet. Like how many Facebook friends do you have? Like I have 4,000. Like I know I have it asked for, like, let's say 1,000 of them are It Works people. I probably asked 3,000 people, but I know they haven't asked that many people. I'm like, and typically their answer is like, no, I didn't. But here's another thing too. I'm always expanding my network. Okay. So like my goal, Sean always laughs at me, my goal is to make a new friend a day. Now, whether that friendship ends up as a customer or distributor on my team, I make a new friend. So, you know, it's not weird this day and age to be like, oh my gosh, like you're so great. I would love to connect on Facebook. I would love to connect on Instagram. It's also not weird to ask people. So like something that I do, it's like a daily to-do list that I have. It's like my non-negotiables. Like if nothing else in my business happens, I'm adding 5 to 10 new friends on Facebook or Instagram. I do it very methodically. Like on Facebook, I make sure we have at least 2 mutual friends. And then I make sure that those 2 mutual friends are not It Works distributors. And I teach my team to do the same thing. Same thing with Instagram. Well, Instagram, you can't see if they're mutual friends, but I try to find people that I have common interests with And, I always tell people, like, I've made so many friendships because of this business, whether they've joined my team or bought anything from me. So, but here's another thing, guys. A lot of those no's became yeses. One second. Yeah. Sean, is anybody else here? No. Okay. So one of the distributors, okay, so we're a blended family, right? Mm-hmm. I can share this. Okay, we're a blended family. So my stepson's mother, who was probably one of the fuels to my fire when I started this and was making fun of me in my at work shirts, was just here in my house, and she just promoted to Ruby. Wow. So, right, and close to Emerald. So a lot of those no's eventually became yeses. So not like if I would have said those 9 out of 10 people that didn't sign, or 6 out of 10 or whatever, yes, look at God. That's definitely a God thing, because we're talking about Jesus now too. And that probably would have never happened. Yeah. But, a lot of those no's become yeses. So this business is so much about where people are in their life. Like, we think that when they say no to us, that it's like, oh my gosh, they rejected me, which in reality, it has more to do where they are in life. So there's something that they're going through in their life that makes them change their mind. So I never feel like I'm tapped out of people ever. Like, I haven't met everybody. Yeah. I run into people all the time that are like, what works? I have no idea what you do,
I love that. And I love that you said you have your non-negotiable. So tell us your non-negotiable. So for sure you said 5 to 10 people on Facebook, 2 mutual friends. What are some of those other, like?
So the non-negotiables are that I post on social media every day. Okay. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. Whether you like it or not, I know people build this business differently. Social media is the way of the world. You guys, I bought lipstick off social media. I bought Wonder Brow off social media. I bought these things my feet are currently like peeling like snakes. Have you guys seen that like baby foot thing on Facebook? Okay. All these different things off of social media. It's the way of the world. If you have a business, you're on social media. So I'm always posting on my Facebook or Instagram. That goes without saying. So I'm sharing something about my products and something about my business every single day. It doesn't matter what is happening, because that is my lifeline to my business, and that tells people that I'm still open for business. I can't tell you how many people, and Sherry Lynn as well, we have signed because they saw a product 2 years ago, but their friend that they would have bought from or joined with, they don't post anymore, and they didn't really know them, so they don't know if they're doing it anymore. So I always post. I always add new friends. I always reach out. So this is my non-negotiable. So if I don't reach out one day, I make sure to double up the next day. I reach out to people about business and products. I follow up. I engage and expand my social media. So those things happen every single day.
I love it. Yeah, no, it's so true, because no matter what you do, everybody is on social media. Like, my daughter is going to kindergarten, and there's like a social media like page for her school, and the business could have nothing to do. It's what everybody does. And so I love that you said that. And then you post to show you're open for business, and it's so true. People tell me, like, I've heard people say, I'm just not big on posting. It's like, well, do you want to make 500 a month? Do you want to make 1,000 a month? Do you want to make 10,000 a month? Do you want to be where we're at, make 30,000+ a month? Start doing it. If you can pee, you can post. That's what I always say. So,
why you can pee and post.
Yeah,
you can post while you're peeing.
That's right? What I post. I know. I'm always like, John will come and he's like, are you really going? Or are you just like on your phone? Like, I need help. It's like, oh, okay, fine. I'll come help you with the kids. No, but yeah, I love that. So you do your non-negotiables. Okay. So tell me this, Genevieve, and you've already kind of actually said some things, even with your like having no fear but what's something that you maybe would have told yourself that you're like, man, I wish I would have known this when I first joined. I might would have done things different, or I wish that I would have started doing this earlier, or what's something that you wish you would have known?
So one thing is, I think the reason I only signed 5 distributors my first month, and some of you guys, I don't want to discourage anybody, because some people are like, oh my gosh, I wish I could sign 5. You guys remember, I asked 100 people. Like, on paper, I'm a massive failure. Okay, one's my mom. Okay, so I have like a 4% success rate. Neither of those 4 people did anything, really. They think they might have signed 1 customer. So something I would have told myself is it's called a drip. I know Sherry Lynn calls it a business lifestyle post. I I felt like because before, like while I was messaging people, because I wasn't making enough money or something, I didn't share about the business as soon as I should have on social media. And that was a big mistake until I eventually, like a few weeks in, got over myself or like maybe a month. And then I started, we call them drips on our team page. It's like, that's probably what helped me sign 7 and then 17 distributors, because it all worked like magic. It worked with like between the asking and the dripping and being excited, it all worked together. That was one tip from the beginning. I got to be honest, being the ignorance on fire was like so huge. I have more tips for after becoming a quote unquote top earner than I do from the beginning. I was so much the same way people were like so much in their own head in the beginning. I didn't experience that because I didn't have time to think about it because things were so stressful. Whereas when I had more time and I wasn't as busy with like the stresses of life that led me into this business, I got so much more in my own head that I had to like shed all of that. In fact, I shared last night on the call, it took me 4 months to get to double diamond the first time. It took me a year and a half the second time with 2.0. And I was essentially building the same way, but I think I wasn't attracting the same people that helped me get there the first time, even though my first 5 did nothing, but I was never focusing on that. You know, I didn't know, like when I went diamond, I have my original diamond chart. Only 2 of those people are still here. Wow. But I looked, the original 24, 11 of them completely quit before I went diamond. But here's the thing, guys, I didn't know that 11 of them had quit. In fact, it wasn't until a year later, after going ambassador, and my team was like, you know, they were like, my team quit, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, was I just really blessed that my team didn't quit? And is that why I got there? So I actually pulled out my chart and I was like, you guys, half my team quit, but I didn't even know because I wasn't focusing on that. I was just focusing on what was going. So I know that wasn't a tip for the beginning. Actually, no, maybe that is my tip for the beginning. Just, if you don't know where to start, just start. And you don't have to have it figured out. Just go. Do something. I started listening to that book that Pam Souter recommended, The 5-Second Rule by Mel Robbins.
Yeah, I haven't read it, but I saw her recommend it. Yeah.
Holy crap. It's blowing my mind because like I've had moments where I'm like, Genevieve, like how did you do this? Like I didn't know that I couldn't. I thought, okay, well, I've been promoting every month, so there's 8 ranks. I'm going to get to ambassador in 8 months. I didn't, obviously. I got there in 12 months, but I didn't know that I couldn't. And I was listening to this today, and it was like, oh, my gosh, this is what I was doing. I had, like, this instinct, and I'm not saying you should follow all your instincts, like that instinct that tells you, oh, my gosh, I hate my husband right now. I'm going to punch him in the face. Like, you shouldn't follow that instinct, but, like, the God-inspired instincts or those ideas that you get, I was just going off of those, whereas like at some point I stopped and I was overthinking it. Stop overthinking it. Like that instinct that tells you, you need to talk to that person. The 5-second rule says as soon as you have that, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I noticed that when I was messaging people, I wasn't spamming them, but I had like that instinct, you need to message this person. Whereas like when I got to top earner status, I became much more like, oh, I'm not going to message them yet or whatever. And it's like, well, Genevieve that got to ambassador in a year didn't think that. She messaged them, you know?
Yeah. No, I love that. No, that's so good. I mean, and I really love what you pointed out with your chart. So you said of those first 5, like, you know, pretty much almost all of them quit. And then of your whole diamond chart, only 2 are left. So the people that were on your team that went to diamond, that might not be the people that take you to ambassador. But the key was when they all quit, you didn't quit.
Right.
Because you were focused on, so would you say that your mind was always focused on just bringing in new people and then there would be someone, you know, or how did you do that?
So something that I tell my team now is you never, and I learned this from something before, like you never, even in life and everything. And I think I learned a lot through having a son that was diagnosed with autism. Actually, and it's so funny because God gives you like so many experiences that you can apply. There's so many things that I've learned through my son, Zechariah, like never to treat him on what I think his limitations are, but what he can become, because eventually like they rise up to him. Like if I'm only, at one point I was guilty of only expecting certain things from him. And so the same is true in this business as well. Like I've just had to learn never to build my business based on what I think is going on right now, but on what it can become. Yeah. And I can't say that I'm 100% like on point with that. I told you I kind of lost my way there for a little bit. A really great story. I went to a One Team One Mission in Orlando in March, and Stephanie and Joel were there, and the VIPs went out to lunch afterwards, and I got to sit next to Stephanie, and I'm like, I'm going to pick her brain. And so like I was asking her, I felt like I was asking like God where he came from, because I was like, who signed you? Like, where did you come from? You know, like I had no idea like who her upline was. I didn't know her upline was Carla Burns. And Carla Burns has been in this business like over 11 years. And Stephanie's been in like her, Joel and Stephanie, like 8 or 9. And I was like, oh my gosh, did Carla sign you? And she goes, no. She goes, there was actually 8 diamonds between Carla and me. Did you know this?
No. Well, I knew she was under Carla, but I didn't know like.
No, listen to this story. It's great. So you can always use this with your team. I said 8 diamonds. And you guys know diamond charts, there's 24 people. Okay. So I was like, you mean like 8 diamonds that are like still kind of there? She goes, no, like 8 diamonds, like canceled out diamonds. So in those few years between Carla and Stephanie, there was 8 diamonds at one point that quit their business, canceled out because they thought nothing was viable. Nothing viable was going on in their business. So why continue? So never build your business on what you think is happening now or how you feel it's happening, because things you think determine how you feel, determine what you believe, determine your actions. But you need to keep building, because you never know. Like, for instance, my enroller is not in this business anymore, but I'm so thankful that for a point in time that God introduced her to this, and that she wasn't too afraid of what people would think, because it changed our life. You know what I mean? It changed everything for us. So that would be my tip there. I know that was like long-winded, but
I love that. No, and it's true, because it's like, yeah, I mean, 8 diamonds. Like imagine you stop and all of a sudden you would have had the Stephanie Dunn like on your team. And it never really hit me till I guess I had something in my business and all of a sudden it clicked one day. But I'm like, I might sign somebody that never takes off, but they sign somebody who maybe signs someone who, oh my goodness, becomes a diamond, becomes a double diamond, becomes a triple diamond. And it's like, well, man, the person that I signed, I thought could do great, but it was someone in their network, which is why you never want to like say, oh, I don't think this person really wants it. And I even hate when people say, oh, I just have all these people, they just wanted kits, they were kidnappers. And I get that. And some people are they may be that, but don't think, because what if you could get them to post and they sign someone that takes off? What if they maybe would have an online party? Like, don't just count them out, you know, because you never know who they could have.
Funny story about that. So I signed somebody who's like in a major funk right now, and she's like, I don't know if I want to do this. So like, you know, if you have iPhone, if you get a message from somebody, it's like, this is in your spam folder. Do you want to accept this message from somebody? I got this message from somebody like, hi, you don't know me, but I was signed by so-and-so, and I want to go diamond, but I want to know how to do that. And she signed on a $10 kit. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, I got to find you on Facebook. And, you know, I had a party, so I got to talk to her to like tonight. We got to get that locked down. But yeah, happens all the time.
You never know. Okay. No, so good. Okay. So let's see. The very last question we'll ask is, so what would be like, you've already given us a lot of aha moments. Sometimes I have people in with an aha. Like, tell us, like, what is one of your because of it works? So we know that, yeah, we haven't really heard like your family now. So you started struggling pregnant, and now tell us your like because of it works. How has it transformed your life? You know, obviously you have a house, I see.
Yeah, so we have this house. So our life because of it works. You know, I was able to stay at home with Nicholas, and not just Nicholas, but we brought Sean home because somebody told me it takes a while to go like ambassador after presidential, but I was like, no, we're going to do it next month. And so we had the option to bring him home. So Sean has been a stay-at-home daddy, and it's just funny when you bring your husband home, you get pregnant. So that happened. So we've been home, not just with one baby, but 2. It was always a dream of ours to be able to afford our first home, and we didn't have any idea how that was going to happen. So because of it works, we were able to buy this house and remodel it and furnish it. Going back to my son that has autism, he goes to a school that is very, very expensive, but he really needs. And thank God for scholarships and grandparents. My contribution to that was like so measly. So because of It Works, I was able to tell my parents, hey, don't worry about it. Got it now.
Wow.
Because of It Works, we've been able to pay down a ton of debt. And because of It Works, we've been able to be generous in ways that like I could have never imagined before. And because of It Works, we've been able to lead friends to Christ. And that's been like really, really cool as well. If anything, I always tell people that's like the part that amazes me the most is the people that find faith here. I just feel like Sean and I are much better people because of It Works. Like, forget the money and everything like that. So the money's awesome, but that's like the best part.
I love that. Oh, how cool. So neat to see just, what can happen and how the impact with just such a ripple effect with this business. Oh, well, thank you, Genevieve. It was incredible. I love your tips. I know we have one of my little diamond groups. They're like, oh my goodness, this is my favorite yet. So you gave us so much, getting to hear your story, hear how you build. And then, just so many just ahas, and just you don't stop. You just need to have that ignorant fire where you just go for it. You don't hold back. And what would you say, even though I just had you close out, what would you say to anyone that's like they're in a funk or they've been feeling a little down, or maybe they sign people with the $9.99 kit and they're not doing anything? Like, what would you say to someone kind of trying to get through something? How do they get back to that ignorance on fire or just going for it?
So I always like speak in stories. So like a few months ago, I was, again, like nobody would ever know this. People think Ambassador Diamonds don't go through funks. Like I had been going through a funk, and I was like really beating myself up in certain areas in my business. And it was like, I love something Tony Robbins says, like wherever you live emotionally, that's like where like your business is, your life, like everything is too. And finally, like one day I was like just driving in the car and I'm like, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing? And it made me think of something, you guys don't know all of this, but back when I was single, like I have battled depression and a lot of other things. I remember there was a situation in my life years ago that was like really beating me up. And I was telling my mom about it. I'm like, when does it end? And she's like, well, it ends when you say it ends. Mm-hmm. And it hit me at that moment. And I had that same moment in the car when I was like, I'm never going to feel like this ever again. And it's a choice that you make. And of course, like there's a lot of divine intervention in there, but it does require a choice, like just to say like, okay, like, well, God, I need help in this. But whenever that creeps in, we know where those lies come from, right? We know where they come from, and just say like, that's not truth. And I'm choosing to feel this way. I always tell people, like I had a very big rule when I was new in this business, discouragement. I can honestly say I've never felt discouraged more than 2 minutes in my business. And people are like, oh my gosh, you're not normal. But no, I've chosen not to feel that way. Have I felt frustrated? Yeah. Have I had moments where like, I want to just like, watch, like eat cookies all day and watch Twilight or something like that. And I just need to like hide under the covers. This might be TMI confessional time. Like, yeah, absolutely. But I don't stay there. And I know that's something Pam says, you make a choice. So whatever it is that happens, discouragement is a deadly D, and we can choose how we feel. So when you make that choice, just take action. So if you feel stuck in your business, pray about it, and then choose to take action and move forward. And that's the best tip that I have. Just move forward.
So good. So good. Yeah. Take those thoughts captive,
Right. Exactly. Take those thoughts captive.
Love it. Oh, thank you for that. So good. So good. Okay. Well, we appreciate it. And I'll send you this recording. Let me hit.
Oh, you guys are so great. Steve.